Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw, and I'm excited to bring another Final Fantasy Commander right before the release. We're going to talk about Sephiroth Planet's Heir, probably one of the most popular characters in the world of Final Fantasy, and I feel like the whole card's flavor, the whole design of it is exactly what Sephiroth does. Like, if you've played Super Smash Brothers, it has crazy abilities with the sword and just devastating. If you played the game, Sephiroth just eliminates everybody. So without further ado, I think I'm gonna start saying that from now on. This is the first video that I said without further ado, Breaking Brews. Anyway, let's talk about Sephiroth Planet's Heir. Yeah, so let's talk about Sephiroth. A 4, blue and a black, total of 6 mana, 4/4 body, legendary human avatar soldier, vigilance. That means when it attacks, it doesn't tap. It says when Sephiroth enters, creatures your opponent's control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature in opponent control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Sephiroth. So what we're doing is, this is all setup game. What's going to happen is, you want your opponents to be playing creatures. When they're playing creatures, they think they're comfortable. Actually, they know they're not comfortable because Sephiroth is in your command zone. They know the impending doom is coming, right? But they think their little 5/5, 8/8s are going to be safe. No. You manipulate their creature's power and toughness, making them super weak. So when you cast Sephiroth for 6 mana, or whenever it need be, you can just board wipe all those creatures. Let's say there's 5, let's say there's 6, let's say there's 10 of them. And when those 10 creatures die, you get 10 +1/+1 counters on Sephiroth, making him a 14/14, making him a big, tall, bad boy, slaying the planet, slaying all citizens of planet Earth, or the planet of Final Fantasy worlds. Your choice, your decision. But there's a way to get there. There's a way to make Sephiroth even more powerful. So I like to introduce a card, actually 2 cards, uh, that are really, I think, are vital to this deck, and you won't find on EDH Rec because it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't make sense because it doesn't tell you a setup game for Sephiroth. So let's talk about those 2 cards. But first, it's a little sneak peek of something. So after the slide, I'm going to show you a card with a similar design, but we need creatures on your opponent's side to die. And first, your opponent's creatures need to be on that side. There's going to be a point in time where players play board wipes and there's no creatures. And there's going to be a time where you can't cast Sephiroth because he's in the command zone, he's got commander attacks, and your opponents have a 1/1 out there. Just 1/1, maybe 2/1/1s. So what's the point of killing 3 creatures, making him a 7/7? Okay, yeah, that's still vital. But there's going to be a point in time where you can't cast them because you have too much command attacks. So let's build the board state for your opponents. Akron Horse for 4 mana. It's a 0/4 artifact creature horse with Defender. When a Crone Horse enters the battlefield, an opponent gains control of it. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So each of your opponent is going to create a pretty much a 1/1 blocker, 1/1 sack fodder, something like that, right? But it doesn't matter. You're just setting yourself up maybe 1 cycle, 2 turn cycles to cast Sephiroth, and you're going to eliminate all those 1/1 white soldiers, making Sephiroth a big creature. And remember, a Crone Horse is a defender. It can attack. It's just a giant 0/4 wall, pretty much. Next up, we got Awaken the Erstwhile for 3 and 2 black. It's a sorcery. Each player discards all the cards in their hand, then creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. This is a great way to eliminate your opponent's hands and make them start top decking, where they have no cards in hand and they're just relying on the top card of their deck to play something. While you have planned this mischievous masterpiece of creating all those 2/2 zombies that your opponents have in their hand. Because your opponent's going to have 5, 2 cards, 3 cards. That's what, 10 creatures total. You cast Sephiroth, you board wipe all those zombies that they have in their hand. Now Sephiroth is a 14/14, and they have no cards in hand. All they can do is probably cast their commander. You say, yeah, I'm telling you, this card is more about setup game than what he actually does. Give your opponent's creatures to board wipe and to eliminate. So there's another creature, Massacre Wurm, super popular for 3 and 3 black, 6/5 Phyrexian Worm. When it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, that player loses 2 life. All those creatures that they had either through their own zombies or human white soldiers from the Crow and Horse, they just get eliminated and they lose life for each creature that died. Win-win for you. Give them creatures to die. Next up is a really good card, a staple. Before I read this, I have to give you the disclaimer. Sephiroth's second ability says when he enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Panharmonicon says for 4 mana is an artifact. If an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So that is -4/-4 for your opponent's creatures when you cast Sephiroth. Okay? Just got to put that out there. It's quick to just overread stuff or forget what the card says. That's why I'm just making it a very big deal. Moving on to my favorite card. We got Mass Diminish here. It's my favorite card because it's going to target a single player, and there's going to be certain times where you just want to target one player. For 1 and a blue, sorcery. Until your next turn, creatures target player controls have base power and toughness 1/1. Yes, that's a low CMC spell that works well with Sephiroth, and you could just board wipe all those creatures that your opponents control. Now, I will say, if they have a enchantment that says creatures get +1/+1, yeah, those creatures will be 2/2s. Just to let you know that. But otherwise, this card has flashback, so you can cast it at the right time when you get another chance to play the spell and play Sephiroth, or cast another spell that's similar to the design of Sephiroth, where your opponent creatures die, you get a payoff. Moving on to cards you may have missed, and this last two, they're auto includes. They're auto includes. Let's go. Hunted by the Family. This is a nasty card. For 7 mana, 5 and 2 blue. It's a sorcery. Choose up to 4 target creatures you don't control. For each of them, that creature's controller faces a villainous choice. That creature becomes a 1/1 white human creature and loses all abilities, or you create a token that's a copy of it. Yeah, that's a moment of silence for your opponents. Uh, it's only 4 creatures. That's okay, because those 4 creatures could be powerful demons that had enter the battlefield abilities or activated abilities that just pop off for your opponents to possibly win the game. You literally shut them down. And by the way, just a little keyword magic knowledge for you. It is called humbling when you change a creature's base power and toughness to a 1/1. Ironic, it's called humble. Yeah. But this also gives your opponents the ultimatum like, hey, if I don't shut off my creature or humble my creature, you can make a copy of my powerful creature. I don't think I want to do that. And you also might be saying, Commander Claw, yeah, I may not be able to activate my opponent's abilities. You should, because you play with mana rocks in your deck where you can tap 1 mana of any color. So don't think you're behind. Not at all. Next up, we got Herald of the Secret Streams, a staple for any +1/+1 counter deck. For 3 and a blue, 2/3 body, Merfolk Warrior. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. So this is just a slam dunk for Sephiroth when you want to swing him for commander damage and just end the game. He makes them unblockable, and your opponents can't really do anything about it unless they have a Fog or Holy Day or Ink Shield, something along those lines. So thank you for watching this video. Breaking Brews 5 cards on Sephiroth Planet's Heir. Hopefully I gave you some interesting perspective on this commander besides just making creatures 1/1s or relying on your opponent's creatures to be 1/1s. Hey, give them 1/1s. Create 1/1s or 2/2s. Whatever you do, create a board state for them and just destroy it and make Sephiroth Planet's Heir essentially what the card really is as a character in the world of Final Fantasy. Thank you for your time. Feel free to leave a comment below of any cards that I may have missed or work well with this commander. Peace out.